The screen fades to black, silence stretching like an endless void. Then, a single sound breaks, at the strike of a hammer against iron. Once, twice. The echo rings as though the earth itself trembles. A shadow of a cross flashes across the screen, not yet raised, but already looming. A narrator's voice rises. Deep and steady, filled with both sorrow and awe, the day the world tried to end hope was the very day hope began. Flashes return in rapid rhythm, the bread breaking. Judas' silver coins, Peter's anguished tears, the crowd shouting, the soldiers gripping ropes. Each image is cut with the steady sound of a heartbeat, slow at first, then faster, till it nearly drowns out everything else. We see Mary's tear-stained face, John's eyes filled with fear, Peter collapsing under the weight of denial, and, at the center of it, Algesis, silent, steady, bound, yet unbroken. His gaze pierces through the screen, not with despair, but with unshakable love. The narrator's voice grows stronger, almost like a prophecy. One man's surrender became the world's salvation. The music crashes, louder, grander, almost overwhelming. And then, everything halts. Total silence. Only a single whisper remains. This is just the beginning. The title slams onto the screen in bold white. Letters against the darkness. The black screen holds for a breath too long, making the silence almost unbearable. Then faint voices, first unclear, like echoes drifting across time. A child's laughter. A blind man's gasp of wonder. The cry of the healed. Whispers of those who once followed him, one by one. These voices overlap, weaving into a chorus of lives forever changed. And then, slowly, they fade into one name carried like a fragile prayer: Jesus. Image flickers brief, blurred visions of the cross silhouetted against a rising dawn. It's not yet revealed, but hinted. The sky burns with a crimson hue, the sound of wind rushing like a storm, carrying with it the weight of what is to come. The narrator's voice returns, just softer now, intimate, like it is speaking directly into the viewer's heart. The world thought this was his last day, but it was only the beginning of ours. Swell of strings begins, gentle, hopeful, not triumphant, but rising like the first breath after grief. The visuals show only fragments, hands lifted in prayer, tears falling onto the ground, the olive trees of Gethsemane bending under the night wind. No faces now, just impressions, symbols meant to leave the audience with mystery and ache. Screen shifts to darkness again, and in the silence, a single heartbeat returns. Steady, unstoppable. With every thud, faint words appear across the screen. The last day beat. That became the first. Peace. The music fades, leaving nothing but stillness. No answers. No closure. Only the promise of a story too great to end here. The narrator whispers one final line, almost like a secret meant for the soul alone. Are you ready to walk with him? The screen fades to black, permanently, pulling the viewer into silence they can't escape, leaving them not just waiting for the episode, but yearning for it. The screen holds in stillness, no voices, no music, just silence, as though the world itself has stopped. Then one flicker of light cuts through the black. A crown of thorns, barely visible, glimmers in the shadows. Sharp edges catch the faint glow, promising both pain and victory. A voice low and steady returns not. Shout, but a whisper that feels louder than thunder. The king is not crowned with gold, but with sacrifice. Images surge one last time, faster now, like flashes of memory colliding. The breaking of bread, Judas's trembling hand. The garden drenched in tears, soldiers gripping chains, and the shadow of a cross stretching across. The ground, the sound of a hammer striking nails pierces the silence again once, twice, 3 times. Each strike sinks deeper, not just into wood, but into the soul of the viewer. But then everything shifts. Darkness begins to lift. Faint glow rises on the horizon, pale yet unyielding, the first light of dawn. The heartbeat that stopped before begins again, slow but steady. Echoing with life that cannot be defeated, the narrator's voice lifts. Filled not just with sorrow, but with a promise that breaks through despair, what seemed like the end was only the beginning. The title bursts onto the screen, sharp and bold. The Chosen, Season 6, Episode 1. Jesus' last day music swells no longer haunting, but hopeful, filled with the weight of sacrifice and the fire of resurrection to come. The screen fades, but not into silence this time. Final line lingers, whispered as though carried from another world, because love never dies. The video ends. The silence afterward is no accident. It's the kind that keeps the viewer frozen, unable to move, their hearts still pounding with the echoes of what they've just witnessed. The final sunrise begins, and the world does not know what is about to unfold. Crowds cheer in the streets, unaware of the storm gathering in the shadows. A teacher, a healer, a man who has carried hope to thousands, now walks toward his last day. Every step he takes feels heavier than the one before because he knows the end is near. Yet behind his calm eyes raced, the city of Jerusalem is alive with noise and movement. Merchants shout in the markets, children laugh as they run between the crowds, and pilgrims flood the streets for the great feast of Passover. To the people, this is just another festival, another year of tradition, but hidden within this day is something eternal. Among the noise, Jesus enters the city, riding not on a horse of power, but on a humble donkey. The people gather around him, laying branches and cloaks at his feet, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." The scene is filled with joy, but beneath the cheers, whispers of unease stir. Some see him as their king, the one who will bring freedom from Roman rule. Others see him as a threat to their authority. The Pharisees watch from the side, their eyes sharp, their whispers plotting. The Romans tighten their grip, sensing the tension that fills the air. The disciples walk beside their teacher, their faces glowing with pride and hope. For them, this is the moment they have waited for, their master welcomed as king. Yet Jesus looks beyond the cheers. His eyes are steady, filled not with pride, but with sorrow. He knows these same voices will soon turn to cries of anger. He knows the palms of celebration will be replaced by nails of suffering. But still, he moves forward, step by step, into the heart of Jerusalem. As the camera sweeps through the crowded streets, we catch glimpses of those whose lives he touched, a blind man who now sees, a woman freed from shame, a child once healed from sickness. Their faces shine with gratitude, unaware of the weight their Savior carries. The soundtrack swells, blending joy with an undercurrent of dread. The scene becomes a living picture of hope, clashing with darkness. The day has begun, and the countdown to his last breath has started. Toss a truth greater than death. But joy never lasts long when fear and envy hold power. Behind the sound of cheers, a storm brews in silence. In the dim corners of Jerusalem, whispers sharpen into plans. The Pharisees sit in their chambers, their robes heavy, their voices hushed but sharp like knives. They cannot stand the sight of this man, loved by crowds, welcomed as a king. To them, he is a danger that must be silenced. One of them leans forward, his words cutting through the room. Better one man perish than a nation fall. Heads nod, and a dark plan takes root. Elsewhere, in the flickering light of a quiet room, Judas sits alone. His hands shake as he counts silver coins, each one echoing like thunder in his mind. His face is torn between loyalty and doubt, love and greed. He remembers the miracles, the laughter around the fire, the gentle voice of the teacher who called him friend. Yet the promise of power, the whispers of riches, pull at his heart like chains. He breathes heavy, staring at the door, knowing his next step will change history forever. The disciples sense the tension, though they cannot name it. Around the table they argue, some demanding Jesus act as king, others confused by his calmness. Peter, hot with fire, clenches his fists, ready to defend his master at any cost. John watches with silent worry, his young eyes searching Jesus' face for answers. Mary, in the shadows, feels the weight of sorrow, her heart aching with a pain only a mother knows. Meanwhile, the Romans march in the streets, their armor clanging like drums of war. Their eyes scan the crowd with suspicion, ready to strike it. The first sign of rebellion. For them, Jesus is just another spark that could set the city aflame. To extinguish him would be simply yet. Something about him unsettles even them. The scene shifts quickly. Flashes of faces, a Pharisee's cold stare, Judas clutching silver, Peter gripping his sword, Jesus walking through it all with quiet resolve. He is the center of a storm no one else can control. Every heart beats faster, every breath feels shorter, as the city becomes a battlefield of choices. And with each passing moment, the noose of betrayal draws tighter. The night grows quieter, yet the weight of the day presses heavier on every heart. For Jesus, time slows as he looks upon the faces of those he loves most. Around him sit the 12 men who left everything to follow him. Their laughter once filled the roads, their songs once carried in the wind. But tonight, even their joy feels fragile. The room glows with candlelight, casting long shadows against the walls as bread and wine are placed before them. This is no ordinary meal. This is a farewell. Jesus lifts the bread, his hands steady though his eyes glimmer with sorrow. Breaks. It, the sound echoing like something far greater than bread itself. "This is my body," he says softly, "broken for you." The disciples look at one another, puzzled, the meaning slipping through their fingers like sand. He pours the wine deep red beneath the flickering flame. "This is my blood, poured out for many." His words fall heavy, yet his voice carries a peace that unsettles them. They do not fully understand, but their hearts feel the weight of a goodbye hidden in every syllable. Mary watches from a distance, her heart trembling. Every movement of her son reminds her of his first cry, his first step, the child she once held in her arms. Now, she sees a man preparing for sacrifice, and the ache inside her chest is a storm she cannot still. Her tears remain silent, but her soul cries out louder than words ever could. Peter clenches his jaw, fire burning within him. He cannot accept defeat, cannot imagine his master speaking of death. "I will never leave you," he vows, his voice shaking but full of passion. Jesus looks at him, love in his eyes, but sorrow too. As if he already knows the road Peter will walk before the rooster crows, John leans closer, his heart filled with both fear and loyalty. He feels the nearness of something he cannot name, a sorrow too vast for his young spirit. He wants to hold on to every word, every glance, though he knows these moments will echo for eternity. And through it all, Jesus remains calm. His heart breaks for their confusion, their fear, their blindness, to what lies ahead. Yet, even as he prepares for his last prayer, his last embrace, his last night of freedom, he gives them something greater than answers. He gives them love, love that will carry them through the darkness, love that will outlast betrayal, love that will break even the grip of death. The music swells, gentle yet haunting. Every face is painted with sorrow, confusion, or fear. But in the center of it all, one face shines with quiet strength. Jesus knows the pain is close, yet in his eyes, there is hope that will never be crushed. The night deepens, and the air itself feels heavy, as though creation is holding its breath. Jesus walks into the Garden of Gethsemane, the olive trees standing like silent witnesses to his agony. He kneels upon the cold ground, his voice trembling as he prays, "Father, let this cup pass from me." His sweat falls like drops of blood, his body trembling under the weight of the world's sin. In that moment, the Son of Man is not untouched by fear. He feels the pain before it comes, the betrayal before it happens, the nails before they pierce. Yet his voice steadies with a choice that shakes heaven and earth. "Not my will, but yours. Be done." The camera cuts Judas, moving swiftly through the night, silver coins rattling in his pouch, his eyes hollow. Soldiers march behind him, their torches glowing like flames of judgment. Each step is louder, each breath heavier, as the betrayal draws near. The disciples, weary from sorrow, sleep at a distance, unaware of the storm about to break. Only Jesus is awake, his heart ready for what must come. The silence shatters, torches flare, swords gleam. Judas steps forward, his lips trembling as he kisses the cheek of the one who called him friend. The sound of chains rattling cuts through the night. Peter leaps, his sword flashing, anger burning through his veins, but Jesus stops him with a word, "Put it away." His voice is calm, even as his hands are bound. The scene spins faster, Roman soldiers gripping tightly. The disciples scattering into darkness, the Pharisees smiling in shadow. Mary's cry echoes faintly as if carried on the wind. The music rises, strings screeching like thunder. A heartbeat sound pulses beneath it, all louder, faster, relentless, and then silence. Jesus stands in the middle of the chaos, his face steady, his eyes unbroken. He is led away, the night swallowing him, the cross already waiting in the distance. The narrator's voice returns, low and haunting. This is not the end. This is the beginning of everything.